Hello, and once again, we come to you with AGN, the Assyrian Global Network, as well as Nabi Fry, Assyrian Fund for Culture. We will be very happy to introduce to you another Assyrian author that has not only written books, but has love for arts and passion for literature and music. But I will leave the introduction for him. So before we start, we would like to introduce Mr. Aboud Zaytoun. Welcome to our program, Mr. Aboud. We are very happy to meet you and have you meet other Assyrians around the world also. Paket, please.
Yeah, Shlam Alochon. I'm very happy to be with you. Thank you for having me in your program. Thank you for AGN TV. I think it's AGN TV. Thank you very much. My name is Aboud Zaytoun. I was born in Syria in 1970, something around 1970, because I don't know exactly when, also the year, not. But however, we left Syria to Lebanon as a kid. I grew up in Lebanon till my 12th year. In that age, we moved then to Germany. So I'm here in Germany since now around 40 years. Yes, so in short, about my background. So my father is originally from Tur Abdin, from Turkey, from the village of Arbo. So this is my root in Bet Nahrin in Tur Abdin. And yes, as I said, I am here since around 40 years. I'm married. I have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Yes, so far short about my person.
Thank you for sharing. I'm happy to hear more about you and learn about you and your love and passion for the Assyrian culture, no doubt, as well as literature. Please tell us about your writings. How did you get into the love or passion for writing?
Well, my passion for writing started in my youth. That means I used to write in some magazines here in Germany and in Europe in general. So I was there an author and also editor for 2 magazines. One of them is Shrogo or Shara, which was published here in the 19th by our association here in Wiesbaden, where I live. And I also wrote articles for Shimsho in the Netherlands. And from there, I started to find my compassion for writing, and so that grew with the time at the end to start my first book. Then.
Wonderful. And the particular book that we are talking about is this book that you have personally written and translated. The book is titled Naum Faiq and the Assyrian Awakening. And we are going to delve into that book now. But before I begin, I would like to quote Nabi Fry did a forward in your book, and she wrote, "This is why this book, so meticulously translated and produced by Aboud Zaytoun and a dedicated team of experts, provides such value." So as I was reading your book, I could see where she was coming from in regards to that. And it was wonderfully written and highly recommended. But tell me, Aboud, how did you come to know of Naum Faiq? And please correct my pronunciations here.
No problem. Before entering Naum Faiq, I would like to share with our viewers just one page because Naum Faiq is not my first book. I wrote before Naum Faiq 3 other books with another topic. As you can see, I started in 2007 with my first book, Music Pearls of Beth Nahrin. Then my second book, Modern Assyrian Music. And the third book is a cooperation with some youth of the Youth Federation in Germany with the name of Music Heritage of Mesopotamia. Through writing in these books, I also met there Naum Faiq, because Naum Faiq also is known as a poet. He have a lot of poems, and which became also songs. So coming to Naum Faiq, to your question, I grew up in our associations here in Germany, and we have on the 5th of February every year a memorial day of Naum Faiq. So he was still for us, for the most of all, I can say all Assyrians, remained a mystery, because we celebrated him. We knew he was a great person, but there was nobody, no single person who can tell us what this man really wrote. So we knew that he had different magazines, he wrote books, but none of them were available at that time. So as I said, I know him as a name since maybe 30 years now. But at the end, I started to write after his magazines were available, digitally available. This was possible due to the efforts of a special organization. This was MARA, Modern Assyrian Research Archive. This organization unfortunately solved. It's not more alive. But however, in this short time where this association was productive, we could get digital copies of the magazines of Naum Faiq. There were 3 magazines. And there we started then. First of all, it's the first time where we have access to his writings. And also here, I would maybe I have to talk a little bit about Naum Faiq, because I'm not sure if all our viewers are aware about this person. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Please, yes, please go ahead. But before you do that, I do want to hear, but I do want to say what you wrote in the book about him. On page 10, you said, as an activist, a journalist, and an author, he laid the foundation for later generations at the beginning of the 20th century. So please go ahead, lead into what you can tell us about Mr. Naum personally.
So Naum Faiq was born in Diyarbakir, or Omid, we say. He was born in February in 1868 to Elias Palach and Said Safar. And he had only one brother with the name of Tuma. He visited in his early years a known school there, and then became a teacher in different cities and villages, mostly in Upper Mesopotamia, in Diyarbakir and the villages surrounding Diyarbakir. He traveled through the countries there, like Homs, Beirut, and Jerusalem. Then in 1899, he married Lucia Khadr, and they became 2 daughters, Fani Istanbul and Seide Boyaji. And here you can see the couples, their husbands. This is one of the pictures of that time in Diyarbakir. I received that from the family of Naum Faiq before 2 years. So here in the background, you can see him as a diacon in his younger years. And in front here, this bishop became later the patriarch of the Syriac Orthodox Church, is Elias Shakir. Naum is known also as the founding father of, I would say the first secular association among Assyrians in 1908. The Intibah associations. I would talk about that maybe later, about this association. Then in 1910 till 1912, he started his first periodical, Kawkab Madanho, emigrated then to the US, in New Jersey. Then after arriving in the US, he started with his magazine Beth Nahrin. Then with a break of 2 years, he was chief editor of Huyada or Huyodo magazine. Naum learned different languages. and wrote in different languages, as you can see: Syriac, Arabic, Turkish, Persian, Armenian, and so on. And he died on the 5th of February in 1930. And his gravestone, as you can see here, is in New Jersey. This, in short, about Naum Faiq as a person, as an introduction to our viewers.
Yes, thank you for that insight into whom Mr. Naum Faiq was. Thank you so much. So you did say that there was an importance for him in the early Assyrian national movement. Do you wish to touch on that a little bit?
Yes, I can do that. As I said, he was the founder of the Intibah Foundation, and beside that, he was one of the early journalists. Many of us know, of course, Ashur Yusuf. Also, again, Ashur Yusuf is still a mystery because we didn't start to decipher his writings of Ashur Yusuf. This is one of our upcoming projects. But Ashur Yusuf, Naum Faiq, these are two stars of the beginning of our Assyrian national movement. So talking about his organization, Intibah, I would also here say, first of all, his thoughts. He had a thought of a unity concept, I would say. A unity concept include, first of all, the language. For him, the language is a treasure. We have to clean up our language from foreign words and to bring both dialects together, or at least that we understand each other, Eastern and Western part. Then the other part of his thinking of the unification is where schools and publications, that we have to open, especially secular schools and print publications to awake our children, to awake the nation. Secularism was a very important issue, and not at least homeland. He was also convinced that we can only survive in our natural and historical homeland. So on this basis, as I said, he was one of the founder of the Intibah associations, and here you can see the branches where this organization were between 98 and 1912, or till 1940, till the beginning of genocide. So you can see here, I think, around 14 different branches, like in Kharput, or here is Laizik, as is written, Adiyaman till Mosul, there were 2 branches. This is, for me, as I said, one of the first secular organizations among our people. You can imagine the branch of Mardin, for example, had 300 members in only one city. So this was a mass movement prior the genocide. After the genocide, all these locations, all this infrastructure vanished. Coming to the US, so you can see here, also in the US, he was active in founding also their branches of the Intibah Association. As you can see here in Michigan, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey, 9 branches. All these branches were then a part of the Assyrian National Association, and at the end, they were part of the Assyrian National Federation now of America, of the US.
Yes, and sorry, and I was just thinking while you were saying that, when I was reading your book, and I could see that you had put photos and pictures in your book, which I'd be happy to talk about later and the effort you went to get
Yeah.
all of those photos. But in saying that, why are there no extensive books about him and his writings, Mr. Naum Faiq's writings and his books? Why do you think there isn't any extensive work on that, obvious to the people now?
Yes, also here I would first start with the language Naum Faiq wrote in. He wrote in Gershuni, that means he used in all foreign languages the Assyrian letters.
Right.
I will show you some examples here how this started.
Please.
But first of all, maybe the question why were such a book needed?
Okay.
We had till yes, till I think I would say till my books came out, only this book as a reference to Naum Faiq. This book was more a memorial book of Murad Chaqqi, written in 1936. This book was more a collection of sayings and writings by his compatriots who
Mm.
wrote about Naum Faiq. So there are very rare original articles of Naum Faiq or by Naum Faiq in this book.
Wow.
So, and if you ask the people before I wrote my books, do you Naum Faiq? They would always say, yes, we have his book. And they meant this book.
Wow.
So, starting with his writings, as I talked about Kawkab Madanho, Kukhwad Madanha, here you can see how it is the header of the magazine. Kirkwad Madanho was mostly written in Osmanic Turkish. That means Old Ottoman Turkish. That means it was the Old Turkish, written in Syriac letters, as you can see here. So from this magazine, we have now 40 issues. The first 20 issues we had already transcribed. I will talk about that later. Then we have the magazine or the periodical of Beth Nahrin. At least 185 issues were produced. We have so far till today around 160, I would say 165 are available. The other 20 issues are still missing. Also here, all his writings were written in Gershuni. That means he wrote also Arabic in Syriac letters, Turkish in Syriac letters, and of course Syriac in Syriac. Then, well, this magazine, it was directly not his own magazine, but he was very often as an author, we found him there. This magazine was produced by his friend Gabriel Boyaji, or Jabur Boyaji, as he was used to be called. This was a magazine which was produced till 1915, and we have 57 issues available now of this magazine. And then we have Huyada or Huyodo, the Union. This was a project of different groups of Assyrians, Eastern, Western Assyrians. And there, Naum Faiq was elected as chief editor of this magazine. We have 39 issues. This magazine was written Arabic in Arabic letters, English. Also, we had also English articles in this magazine, and also still Gershuni for Turkish articles, and also in Syria. So far, this is the base of the writings of Naum Faiq. And so on this base, we started to decipher the articles. That means if you have somebody who can read Syriac texts, he can read this Gershuni Turkish or Ottoman texts, but he would not understand it, because Ottoman is the former Turkish, the old Turkish, and this is a mix of Arabic, Persian, and Turkish. So it's very complicated to understand what was written at that time.
Right.
And my first try was to decipher, to transcript a language which I master. This was the Arabic version of the book. This is this book.
Okay,
This is Arabic. For Arabic, also here I can show you what we did. Um, for
please.
Arabic, it's not that uh, problem, as I said. Here you can see a sample. The viewers who can read Arabic can, of course, read the Arabic one. And on the right side is the original writing. It's the same, only the letters are here in Syriac and here is the then in Arabic. So we transcribed that directly to Arabic because in Arabic we don't have the problem of the changing of the language. It's still that Arabic that mostly still used. And this is also the base then to translate the Arabic articles to English. Here you have a
Wow.
sample how we then transformed from Arabic to English.
Yeah, maybe I could read that in English if you don't mind. Do you mind if I read that?
Yes, this was it's a typical topic of Naum Faiq.
Right.
Maybe I choose this part because of the name discussion we have among our people. Here you can see that Naum used to use all names of our people. That means he used Assyrian, Aramean, Syrian, or Syrian in Arabic. So he had at that time no problem to identify himself or his people with all of these names we have in our history. It
Right.
was for him a richness to have such a rich history.
Really.
Unfortunately today, we have stubbornness. I would say that the one part says I am Aramean, the other part I am Chaldean, the other part are Assyrian, and this you can't see at that time before 100 or 130 years in the writings of Naum Faiq.
Mm. So I
Yes.
will just read that if you don't mind going back to the English. Will our blood have flowed in vain? For about 25 centuries, our Assyrian homeland, Al Athuri, Beth Nahrin, was under the control of many unjust nations. Its Aramean inhabitants remained groaning under the yoke of slavery and the injustice of those who controlled it. Every country that overcame this deplorable land has been tasted, its inhabitants, the varieties of bitterness and kinds of torments as witnessed by different dates. In the days of the Assyrian Empire, the land of Mesopotamia was a bright and prosperous kingdom with science, commerce, industry, and agriculture. So thank you
Yes.
for allowing me to read that, Abu. But
No
I do
problem.
want to ask, how and why did you specifically decide to write this book? And tell us about how it actually started for you. We touched on it a little bit, but feel free to elaborate.
Yes, as I said, it started because I master, as I said, I'll show you this one. I master reading Syriac and I also read Arabic. So the first step to transcript from this Gershuni Arabic to Arabic was a simple task for me, much simpler than the Turkish one. So that's the reason why I started to publish the first book, the Arabic version of Naum Faiq's writing.
Hmm.
Yes, and this book, the Arabic one, here you can see the structure. It's not identical with the English one because in English we have a lot of Turkish articles we translated. For the Arabic, there are mostly Arabic articles we transcribed to the Arabic of today.
Right. And when I think about the translation, I do want to talk about the challenges that you may have had translating from, let's say, Arabic into English. Please tell us about some of the challenges and the verbiage and the words that you use to make it sound as accurate as you possibly can.
Yes, translation from Near Eastern language like Arabic or Semitic language to a Romanic language like English. It's very difficult. So it took sometimes for one page, maybe 5-6 hours to translate them, to find the right words in the new language. So this task is it's a really difficult task, and at the end, it's not my mother tongue English. So for English, I am very thankful for my helpers. First of all, Dr. Eden Nabi, who supported in proofreading the articles, and my dear friend Fred Abram. He's also from San Jose, I think, from California, who supported me in proofreading the articles I translated, and that's a great help. And this is our power, by the way, for us Assyrians, that we have a great network. We have only to use it, to use our network.
Like we said, the translation, the effort and the hard work you put in has paid off, and thank you for that. And obviously, those that helped you translate the book. Let's go back. We talked about it in the beginning, a little bit about the photos and how you came about them, and placing them strategically in the book by the editorials or the biography or whatever it may be. So tell us about how you were able to get those photos and aligning them correctly.
Yes, I am a very good friend of photos, or a fan of photos to have in my books, because photos display the life of the articles. For Naum Faiq, we had only some photos, but I did a lot of research in many books to find photos. And at the end, I tried for a long time to get in touch with his descendants, the family of Naum Faiq, and I succeed in that. I am in contact with the family, with his great grandchildren. Two granddaughters are still alive. So I had also a meeting over 1.5 hours, meeting with eight members of the family of Naum Faiq. And from there, for example, I received 2 or 3 photos which were very new for the public. Nobody knew that photo. For example, is this one on my book, where is he sitting and holding his magazine in his hand. I received this photo. This photo is originally his daughter and his wife are standing beside him, and I put only him on the cover. But this was one of the photos I received by the family, or from the family. And of course, as I said, you know also that from that time in the early 20th century in Diyarbakir in Turkey, there were rare pictures. So I was very happy to see that picture of the priests around him. I was very happy to receive that picture from his great-granddaughter. Yeah.
Camera in those days, and then to develop them, the hard work, it's not as simple as it is today. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of hard work on that end, as well as you putting those photos and books together. And there is a little family tree that you put together in the book on page 367, the photos of the family all the way to the granddaughters, which you said that you have met. So that's a privilege right there.
Yes, I would like also to thank them here directly. I would like to thank them. Dawn Scalata, she lives in Florida now, and Patty Binko, she lives in New Jersey, and his granddaughter Evelyn Cheringal, who live also in New Jersey. I'm very thankful for their help, what they can deliver. At the end, what I want also to say here also, even his family, where I talked about with them, they don't have his original writings. His granddaughter have only that book I presented from 1936.
Wow.
All other magazines, they don't have that. What I could get was during my visit in 2018 in New York and New Jersey, I received a box with the remaining manuscripts, notes, personal notes of Naum Faiq. I took them and I scanned them, and now we have also transcribed them. So we have a lot of very personal writings, which will be added to my current book we are working on.
Born into one of the many minorities, ethnic groups living in today's southeast Turkey, without a doubt, he turned into one of the intellectual fathers of the modern Assyrian nation. What do you think it is about Faiq that made him that intellectual father of the modern Assyrian nation? We can feel free to talk about his education as an educator, a teacher.
Yes,
Again,
yes,
please
for
go ahead.
sure, for sure. As I said, he was one of the first journalists beside Ashur Yusuf, Naum Faiq, and of course we have on the Iranian side also in Urmia a movement, intellectual movement. So this triangle was the beginning of our national awakening. And Naum Faiq, as I spoke, I told you, with his organization, the Intibah organization, the Awakening organization, he could reach a lot of people. Beside his teaching career, he could reach a lot of people, and beside that, also his magazine could reach a lot of people. The magazines of that time were the social media of today. So with his Kawkab Madanho magazine, his teaching activities, and his organization Intibah, he was very active in producing national thoughts, because he is the first one, beside, as I said, beside Ashur Yusuf, to tell the people, wake up, ask for your rights, demand your rights. So he is a pioneer, and he is one of the first who formulated that in his writings.
Yes, and I did see that repetition and all the editorials. Wake up, wake up. I
Yes.
did read that many times, and then it did say in Mr. Fake also languages, like 7 languages. Here are dictionaries, glossaries, and then we said he was an educator himself, ordained as a deacon in the Syrian Orthodox Church.
Mm.
But I really felt a love for his passion for the Assyrian nation and for his church. But he was able to manage both his culture, his faith, and passion for each equally. Do you have any
Yes.
insight in that?
Yes, he had his passion, but if you read between the sentences, you get very, very sad about his situation, because he was always claiming or complaining that nobody reads his writings. There are no readers. People do not respect such issues, national issues. Something I felt like today, by the way, like today, is I have a lot of deja vus while writing or translating his writings, because all topics they faced at that time before 100 years, we are facing today. So I asking myself, why didn't we as a nation didn't learn from our history since 100 years, and we didn't came forward 1 centimeters. So this is for me a problem from our side, that we don't know our history. Of course, I can say Naum Faiq, nobody knew him till I start to translate his writings. But what is about the generation, his generation and his generation after him? Why didn't they transported his thoughts till today in the right manner? This is a big question. Yes, these are my thoughts about his writings. Why didn't they survive till today?
Yeah, and I felt that there was a lot of pleading going on with the nation, with the people in his voice. Obviously, he cared a lot about his faith and his culture at the time, with the hopes that it would continue. And as you mentioned, we haven't really. We're still struggling with that today. A lot of we're still struggling with trying to
Just
keep
just
our language and
yeah,
please.
just take the name issue. As I presented, in his generation, they didn't had any problem with the names. But today, we have, especially our West Assyrians, it's still a struggle to claim I'm Assyrian or Aramean or Syriac or what else, I don't know.
Right.
At that time, his generation of Naum Faiq, you can say in his writings, even in different languages, they don't have or they don't mind about the different names. They are very proud of them. So I'm also today proud that I have several names from my history. This is an evidence that I have a rich history. So I have to be proud of that.
Right. Right. Yes, and yeah, going back to the book, let's talk about the way you divided the book into the three editorials. First, his biography, Naum Faiq's biography, and then the three editorials that he wrote. Do you want to talk about why you decided, as the author of the book, to place them in that order?
Well, first of all, I'm more a translator and collector of his writings because these are original writings of Naum Faiq,
Right.
and I'm the person who brings him in other language. Of course, the biography is written by me from different researches I did. The structure of the book is that I did that first of all, separated that by the magazine he published. He started with Kaukab Madenho, so I started with Kaukab Madenho. It's the earliest publication of him. Then switched over to Beth Nahrin from 1916,
Uh,
and at the end is Huyodo. Well, Huyodo was, of course, between Beth Nahrin because it was only 1 year lifetime,
right.
but I put that at the end. So it's from my view, it's a chronological structure of the book, and at the end I have some annexes, some letters, the family tree you mentioned. So I put that at the end. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I did see that. Thank you. And do you feel that each editorial was giving the same message, or do you feel that the editorials were providing, the three different editorials were providing a different message? What do you feel about that?
Well, it's there are differences, of course. It depends on the time where these were written. Uh, if you start with Kaukab Madenho in 1910, our people in Turkey were very hopeful regarding the new constitution there. They are praising the Ottoman Empire, for example, because they were hoping that now democracy is coming, freedom is coming, but at the end, genocide came. So this is the difference. And then coming to Bet Nahrin, it's in 1916. So during or after the genocide, you can say. So there you can see the problems, or there are a lot of time documents of that time or eyewitnesses are written there. For example, the murder of Ashur Yusuf, the murder of Mar Binyamin Shemmun, and so on and so on. So there are a lot of documents which were lost for us because we didn't have access to these documents. And Huyodo, for example, the third magazine, was the attempt to unite the groups, the Assyrian groups, and it was after the Paris conference, a freedom conference, where Assyrians the first time demanded a homeland there, and this the focus was again another focus. So there are three time periods, and of course all the lifetime of Naum Faiq So you can start from 1908, beginning of the Intibah association, till after the genocide. These are turbulent times for our history, and it's very important that we have enough and so much as possible literature about this period. So, and Naum Faiq delivers that. We have only to dig into it and read it and transcribe it and translate it.
Right. Yes, and thank you for your translation there. How are these books accepted by the people?
Well, I make the same outcry like Naum Faiq in his time. We are people of non-reading people, or a nation of non-reading people. Of course, our authors have the same problem. For me, if you talk about the English version, for example, the English version, I can say I sold how many? 100 pieces? 100? It's too much, maybe to 100, maybe less than 100 books. So if you think about the English reading Assyrians we have, this is nothing. This is not 1%, not 1%. Yeah.
It's a very small population. And then what about any further books that Mr. Naum Faiq or his compatriots, any in the planning?
Well, yes, I talked about the Arabic now so far, but I have this between the Arabic and the English one, 2 further books. So I will share also these books for our viewers.
Please.
So this book, this is a transcription of the first 20 issues of the magazine Kawkab Madnho, which were produced 1910 till 1911. We did that this way. Here you can see in the background the original, and we transcripted that to Latin letters, still in the same language, but in Latin letters. Then I have the same book as I produced in English, also in German before, because my strongest and best language is German, where I studied also here in Germany, my studying economics. So the English version is, you can say, a copy of the German version. This was this book. And as I said, this is the English version, which was produced at the beginning of 2023.
Right.
So coming back to your question, just let me switch. So in planning, I hope the next month, maybe, yes, I think month or two, the second volume of Kawkab Madnho will be released. You can see here, this is the first appearance, by the way, of the cover in your program.
Right.
So this is then the second issue, the second 20 issues. So we will have then all 40 issues transcripted. And I am working also parallelly on the writings of Sanharib Bali, a further forgotten journalist and writer. We have around 60 articles identified of Sanharib Bali. Sanharib is a compatriot of Naum Faiq, also from Diyarbakir, who used also to live also in New Jersey. He had also his own magazine. Unfortunately, we lost 17 out of 18 magazines. We lost them. So we have only one issue of his magazine. But he wrote in a lot of other periodicals like Beth Nahrin of Naum Faiq and others. So this is also a project, also in English and German, is coming. But I think the English version will take maybe more than 1 year or maybe 2 years. First of all, I'm working on the German version of that.
Since we're speaking of languages, how many languages can you speak and write fluently?
Arabic, German, English. Well, Assyrian, I can read, I understand, but I'm not that fluent in writing, of course, of speaking. أنا همزة مدنخايا ومشغلنا مع عربويستي بس كثوتو اسمه عسقويو كلوزاملا قورينو بس sorry I switched.
That's fine. I understood a little bit.
أقول يا أمر أنا ما أصل قارن بس لما أصل كتبن يعني من ديانة ياريخي. So what 5? How many did I count? 5.
Yeah, very
Yes.
good. Very impressive. So on page 104, the book, one of the editorials, it says, "To whom does Mesopotamia belong? Our first task should be to create unity among ourselves before fragmentation destroys and unity builds." We touched on this a little bit, but Naum was talking about unity over 100 years ago. So, and I guess the question is, do you feel that he accomplished his mission? We did touch on it a little bit, but feel free to elaborate.
Well, I think for a short time he accomplished, yes, for a short time. And very locally also. So if you can see the foundation of the Assyrian National Federation in America, the founding fathers of this federation were a mix of both, all the denominations we have. So you can see Western and Eastern Assyrians who are the founding fathers of the federation. Today, if you look at the federation, I don't think if there are any West Assyrians in the federation still. I know there's only one association in Massachusetts, but in the board of the federation, there are none West Assyrians. So back to your question, his idea is still alive. The idea of unity is still alive. Not only among West Assyrians, although among all Assyrians. So you can see if you check the programs of our political parties, almost all the biggest parties claim to unite these people. So at the end, these are the ideas of Naum Faiq.
Yeah. When I was reading the book, I really felt that he was ahead of his time. When I think about the access that we have today through modern technology and social media, cell phones, photography, I feel like he was ahead of his time. Would you agree with that, Mr. Aboud?
100% yes, he was ahead of his time. His ideas, as I said, before 100 years, after 100 years, we are missing that time. 100 years. So he was 100 years before his time.
Wow.
There are a lot of things. For example, it's only my outcry also till today. Schools. He always said in his writings, we need secular schools. So just looking in Germany, we have, I think, 250,000 Assyrians in Germany, but we don't have one school. We don't have. So, and this misery, he was talking about that 100 years ago.
He really was. Yes, he did. He touched on many things and many similarities to what is happening amongst today. Exactly. Yeah. And we talked about his family, and you thanked them on this program. There is a family tree of him and his granddaughters and the beautiful photos. But at this point, I want to thank you for your time. And where can not just Assyrians, anyone that watches this program, Assyrians or non-Assyrians, find your books? If there is a particular website that you would like to give us, feel free to go ahead. And if there's anything you would like to add that we did not touch upon, please feel free to do so now.
Thank you very much. You can find me if you type my name in Google. I have my own website. It's my name, aboudzaytoun.com. So there you can find my books. My books are also available sometimes, some of them on Amazon, some of them on lulu.com. So just type my name on Google, you will find me. That's not the problem. Yes, what I have to add is we have to still awake our people, like Naum Faiq was always crying, Ithair bar Uthur Ithair, awake, son of Arthur, of Assyria, awake. We are still in the same situation, or worse than the situation he lived in. Look at our homeland, what happened in the last, I would say, only the 20 years, not more. Look what happened. How many % of our people still live in our homeland? So we are in a misery in a very crucial time. It's very evident that we have to unite. We have to connect. We have to build networks all over the world. And the building networks today, it's very, very simple. As I can talk to you to California now, it's very simple to have a network all around the world via social media and these tools today.
Right.
I hope our people can take some positive impact from that.
Yes, so this program will be going all around the world. So hopefully Assyrians around the world will be listening to your message right now. The same message that Mr. Naum Faiq sent 100 years ago. So we would like to thank you so much for your time. We understand the time difference between California or the US and Germany. So thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to meet you and to understand more about you personally and the hard work that you put in to try to keep our culture, our literature, our music alive. Thank you so much, and from AGN and from myself, and also once again Nabi Fry, Assyrian Fund for Culture. Thank you.
Yes,
all our viewers. Go ahead.
I would also thank you very much, Svetlana, for this nice interview. I will thank AGN and the whole team. And of course, Eden Nabi is a good friend of mine who still helped me also in my projects. Thank you very much. I appreciate this program very much. I watched 1 or 2 of these episodes. It's a great idea to give authors the opportunity to present their works. Thank you very much.
I would have to agree with you. Thank you once again until we meet, Mr. Aboud.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Okay, bye-bye. And once again, we would like to thank AGN, the Assyrian Global Network, as well as Nabi Fry, Assyrian Fund for Culture, and look forward to seeing you all again next month for a new author.